Welcome to A Heart for Home Education. My name is America and I home educate my 3 children ages 9, 7, and 5. Today I am sharing with you my curriculum picks for the upcoming 2025-2026 school year for my grade 4 student. So we home educate in a Charlotte Mason and classical style, and so I am going to be sharing with you the resources and curriculum that I've picked out for this year for my grade 4 student. In a Charlotte Mason education, us mother teachers strive to give our children a very rich and wide and varied feast of living ideas to build their education. So you are going to see a wide selection of studies covered as well as living books that we plan to use in our upcoming school year. So it's important to remember as you see my stacks of resources that we are using this year is that not everything is done every day and all of these books are spread out over the year. So some of the books we won't be touching in the first term and we'll only use in the second term or the third term. For the spine of our homeschool year, I am going to be using the Children's Tradition, which is a Charlotte Mason and classical curriculum based on John Senior's 1000 Good Books list. This is a curriculum for nursery years all the way up to grade 7, and it covers the wide feast of subjects that you would normally see in a Charlotte Mason curriculum throughout those years of education. Half of this curriculum is educational philosophy, which covers the poetic mode of learning, which is a beautiful way of having our children experience the world before they jump into analyzing the world. So experiencing the world through living books and living ideas and actually feeling things, touching things, seeing things, and having kind of an emotional connection with those things before we jump into analyzing those things. So this curriculum provides basically our spine for the year. So I will share in another video how our family plans to use this for group and family subjects. So I won't be touching on very many group subjects today, just the specific skill subjects for my grade 4 student. And he is going to be placed in year 4 of the Children's Tradition. This is kind of the first year where I am branching out my oldest student to be doing a couple more things on his own. Because I have a year 1 student coming in, brand new to school, I have to kind of divvy up my time between my oldest child and then my younger 2 children who will be working together a lot more. So this is the year that my grade 4 student is going to kind of be ushered into independence in a lot of subjects, but he still will need my guidance and support for a lot of the other things that we are covering this year. So a lot of what you will see today are from the Children's Tradition picks or Ambleside Online picks or just things that I thought we should study this year. So first up, I will share our picks for math. So we are going to be doing Math Mammoth. This is the light blue series. This is the work text. And this beautiful copy is from Canon Press. I really love this printing. It's a lot more attractive than the standard printing from Math Mammoth. So this is what we plan to use. I love the method that is used in Math Mammoth. We have used it in the past and have liked it. We kind of took a break from it last year, but we are returning just because it is so solid and such a strong program. So this is going to be our main pick for math. Last year, I introduced my son to Beast Academy and he used that quite a bit last year. And so I do have a Beast Academy book that he can use next year as a supplement, as a way to review, because the one downside to Math Mammoth is that there is no spiral review. I really think this could be the perfect curriculum if it had that spiral daily review, reviewing things that they have already covered throughout the year, instead of just having a cumulative test every unit and then kind of forgetting about the subject. So that is kind of one thing that drew me away from Math Mammoth, but it's such a solid program that I'm willing to add in my own spiral review in some way. Beast Academy has challenging lessons and games online or in book form, and so these kind of add in that element of review, that element of thinking a little bit more critically, a little bit more deeply about a problem. And so we will use this occasionally. And then one thing that we are adding in this year is once a week, he will be doing Your Business Math series from Simply Charlotte Mason. And we are going to start off with the pet store. And so this comes with a teacher book and then the student book And this is kind of a living math kit where the student kind of pretends that they are running a pet store. And then as they are running this math store, they come across different various math tasks that they need to solve and complete in order to run their business. So they will be keeping track of things like inventory, ordering more inventory, doing a lot of addition, subtraction, division, writing checks, paying employees, things like that, things that happen in the real world. And so my son is really going to love this. He's kind of taken an interest in a lot of economic things. And so I think he's really going to enjoy the premise of this math series. So we will be doing this once a week. I plan on Fridays. He will take a break from Math Mammoth and do your business math. Up next, we will be talking about my picks for language arts. Now, Charlotte Mason's approach to language arts is different than traditional education. So for the first 3 years of a Charlotte Mason education for language arts, really you're just looking at learning to read, narration, and copywork. Those are kind of the 3 pillars that the younger years have in a Charlotte Mason education. And then in the 4th year of schooling in a Charlotte Mason education, you add in written narrations. For what my student needs, I'm going to be giving a little bit more support in that area. So I will share with you the picks that we have. So first up, we have classic cursive quotations. This is from Simply Charlotte Mason. This is cursive copywork. This is beautiful cursive copywork that he's going to really enjoy. And so this is what he will be doing for copywork. And then I'm also going to start him on gentle grammar. This is level 1, which I assume he is going to fly through, but this has a lot of gentle grammar and gentle copywork. So in a Charlotte Mason education, students ought to be picking up on a lot of spelling and grammar rules from their extensive copywork. I tend to think some students might need a little bit more support than that. And so I know this student of mine particularly will need a little bit more support in that. So this is from Sherry Hayes, which she runs the blog Mom Delights. And this is an adaptation of new language exercises for primary schools by CC Long. And so it just has simple, gentle grammar exercises. And so while the exercises may be simple, they are teaching grammar explicitly, which is what some students need. And so this I plan for him to do, and I think he will probably fly through this, and then we'll head to the next level. Once we finish level 1 and 2 of that, I assume around term 3, we will be using Fix-It Grammar. This is book 1. This is from the IEW, and I think he's gonna have a lot of fun fixing these. He's enjoyed any editing that he's done in previous curriculums that we've used, and so I think this will be a nice addition to move into after we go through a couple of the gentle grammar books. And then this next one is not a grammar curriculum, but it is called The Grammar of Spelling. This is a spelling curriculum. This is by Canon Press. And this is just a really simple spelling curriculum, really traditional, simple. It looks easy to use. It doesn't have a lot of moving parts. It's very straightforward, which is what my student prefers. And to make this easier, I am going to record my own voice saying the spelling words at the beginning of the year. There are 34 lessons, so making 34 little recordings shouldn't be a big deal, but that way it can be a little bit more independent for him. So this is what we will be using for spelling. And all of those resources are meant to assist him in his written narrations. We are going to start off with adding in 1 written narration per week, and then hopefully by the end of the year, we are up to maybe 2 or 3 written narrations by the end of the week. Narration is just telling back what you have read or what you have heard. Adding in a written narration is just writing down what you have read or what you have heard. And it really will slow the student down. My son can narrate very fluently and for a very long time and get nearly every detail of the story, but I know that writing it down is going to slow him down quite a bit. But I am looking forward to this new step in our Charlotte Mason education. Next up is typing. He will be doing 1 to 2 typing lessons per week, just for about 10 minutes. He enjoys this. This is quick, and we do these on typing.com. And then for a little bit more reading support and fluency, he will be doing the Victory Drill book. And this is published by Christian Light Education. At least that's where I ordered it from. And this just has lots of different types of words and you kind of time yourself and read through the page, and then you read through the page over multiple days until you get it under a certain time. He's going to love this. He loves anything that is timed, and this should just help him to kind of connect all of the dots of decoding words. And I like how the review lists in this are varied. It's not just a list of words all following one pattern where the student can like really easily predict what's coming next, but it has a lot of variance in what words they are, what kind of like phonetic patterns are in them. And so the child really has to focus to make sure that they're decoding the word properly. So I think this is going to help us a lot. This should probably only take us 3 minutes per day. And I don't have the specific McGuffies that we are going to be using. I think we'll be using book 3 or book 4, but we will just read one lesson a day, which takes us 10 minutes tops. And we will read each lesson 3 times in a row over 3 days. And so that's kind of our plan for continuing to support him in reading. So those are all of our picks for the language arts area. And now let's talk about history. So our history picks are primarily coming from Ambleside Online rather than the Children's Tradition. The Children's Tradition has its own plan for studying the stream of knowledge of history, but I just preferred the Ambleside Online approach to history for this year. So I went with the Year 4 Ambleside Online history picks, and these are some of the books that are included in that history stream. But I just want to remind you that he's not reading these every day, every week even, or every term. So these are all spread out throughout the year, and the chunks that he is reading, it's really only a chapter or 2 per week of each book. Some of these, if I have been able to find an audio component, he will be listening and following along in a book. And then some of these we will be reading together. So the first up is the Ambleside Online History Spine, This Country of Ours, which we have already been reading this. This one does have an audio companion, and so he will be listening to this one, and this one he actually will listen to every day, but it's only a short chapter every day. So he will listen to this and then narrate. And this one goes across all 3 terms. They use this one in all 3 terms. And then the next one is Poor Richard. I've already started pre-reading this one and I've been enjoying it. And so this one is term 1. I don't think this one goes throughout the whole year. This is, I think, term 1 and term 2. And this one is kind of a biography of Benjamin Franklin. This one, I believe, is term 2 and term 3. This is Abigail Adams, Witness to a Revolution. So this is a biography about Abigail Adams and her perspective on the Revolutionary War. It's a culmination of her letters written to her loved ones and her husband, and I've heard really great things about this one, so I'm excited to pre-read this one soon. The next one is The Ocean of Truth. This one is a biography on Sir Isaac Newton, and this is the term 3 history pick. I've also heard really good things about this one. And see, all of these really rich biographies. That's what drew me to Ambleside Online over TCT for the historical studies. So I'm just really looking forward to all of these. And then this one is George Washington's World. This is kind of a thicker book. And this one is spread out over terms 2 and 3. And then this is Answering the Cry for Freedom. And this one is spread out all throughout the school year, but it is not every single week. It's like every 2 or 3 weeks you read a chapter from this. These are 13 biographical sketches of Black men and women during the fight for freedom for Black people in our country. So this looks like it's going to be a really good book. And I believe this one carries out over multiple years of AO. And then to go along with the history that my son is studying, he also has a history timeline notebook. This is from School Nest. So this is kind of like Charlotte Mason's Book of Centuries, and so he can start filling this out on his own. That is it for our history stack, but you'll see that a couple of the other books, especially in our literature selections, come from this same time period and have lots of historical elements woven throughout the rest of our curriculum. Next up, let's talk about science and the study of nature. So he will be doing nature journaling with us as a family, nature study as a family. That's an important part of our curriculum. But he is really ready and showing signs of being ready to kind of move towards the next step in scientific studies. We recently returned from a trip to the Pacific Northwest where he showed an immense interest in studying rocks and tectonic plates, volcanoes, landforms like that. And so it seemed like the perfect time to show him something like earth science. His poetic experience with the Pacific Northwest leads me to believe that he will really enjoy diving a little bit deeper using this. This is Apologia's Exploring Creation with Earth Science. We tried Apologia last year, their astronomy curriculum, as a whole family. My oldest son really did enjoy that, but I ended up dropping it because my younger formal student was just not ready for it. And so it wasn't beneficial to the whole family. And I wasn't really ready to do something that only benefited one student last year. I just was spread too thin. And so we are giving Apologia a try again. And this time it's going to be more independent. So Apologia has MP3s of their books. So I will be ordering the audio version of this book. He can follow along in the book, and then he can come give me his narration, his written narration. Or I also picked up this earth science notebooking journal for him to use independently. I think he's going to like doing this independently. He's going to like taking ownership over this particular study. And so I'll give him the option of a spoken narration, a blank notebook entry, or doing what is in the Apologia notebook. I'm going to be picking up the science kit, which includes all the materials to do any of the labs or experiments in this curriculum. And I'm picking that up from Nature's Workshop. And so I will link that down below. I will link everything that I can down below for you. So this is what we plan to do for my son's science studies for next year. Next up is geography. So he will be branching off on his own for geography as well, just because the geography study that I picked out for my younger ones is very much too juvenile for him. He's beyond all of those concepts, so he's ready to do something on his own. So first up, we are revisiting a curriculum that we did our first year of school, but this time he's going to do it on his own, and the map work will be a bit more involved. So this is Paddle to the Sea. This is probably my favorite sea hauling book. It's either this or Pagoo, I don't know. And so we loved this book. And we are ready to revisit it in a deeper capacity with more involved map work, map questions, everything. And then I also have this book, along with just some other Great Lakes books that we can include in this. This is The Amazing Impossible Erie Canal by Cheryl Harness. And then I picked up this Paddle to the Sea guided study. This is by A Mind in the Light, which is a Charlotte Mason curriculum. This is a PDF guide that assists you as you go through Paddle to the Sea with some of the map work, some of the questions, some of the extra content, and ways to just dive deeper into the resource. We live in Michigan, so we are surrounded by the Great Lakes, and it's important to me that he knows and understands the Great Lakes and just the impact and importance of the Great Lakes. And so that's why we will be revisiting this. So this is kind of our local geography that we will be studying. And then I'm kind of kicking myself because I was very interested in the Alvieri's geography grades 4 through 6, but it was from their last school year. So within a couple of days of when I went to purchase that, they had updated it to be for this coming school year. So it wasn't going to be covering the same things as I was so interested in for this past school year. They were studying Marco Polo and some of the great rivers of the world. So I was bummed and disappointed, and I just really wasn't as intrigued by the topics that they're covering for next year. And so I've kind of been hunting and searching, and what I think I've landed on and what I'm planning to do is this Marco Polo study. So this is He Went with Marco Polo. This is by Louise Andrews Kent. So this is a living book about Marco Polo, about a boy who travels along with Marco Polo. And then to go along with that, I have He Went with Marco Polo guided study from A Mind in the Light. And this again will help me with the map work, with some of the map questions that I can be asking, and just kind of supporting me through geography. I talked about on my channel how I've just struggled with kind of the loose interpretation of the Charlotte Mason approach to geography. I love the idea of the map work, the questions, the living books, but I just kind of struggled to take it home to my student and to have all those map work questions ready to go. And so I think this will help us to do just that. So we kind of have like a world geography and then a closer to home local geography. And that wraps up what we are doing for geography. Up next are some of the literature picks, which are coming from mostly the children's tradition, but also Ambleside Online. And within TCT, I'm kind of mixing between years, and we are doing a lot as a family. So first up, my son will be reading Tales of Troy by Andrew Lang, and this one does have an audiobook version, so he will be listening to this one on his own and giving me a narration afterwards. And then our term 1 novel is going to be Robinson Crusoe. And I do not expect my younger two to be a part of this. They can listen if they want, but this is mostly directed at my year 4 student. And he is so excited about this book. He heard my husband listening to it like a year ago, and he has continued to ask me when he gets to read this book. And so we did some swaps within TCT and AO, and this will be our term novel. I think I will read it aloud to him. He also may listen to it on audio, but this is what the pick is. Term 2 will be The Prince and the Pauper by Mark Twain. And term 3 will be Hans Brinker or The Silverscapes by Mary Mapes Dodge. And so those are all his specific literature picks for this coming year. And then Ambleside Online also lists several shorter speeches or poems that are great literary works. And so I'm including some of those, but I don't have physical copies of some of them because I'm just going to print them because they're shorter. But I do have this one. This is Paul Revere's Ride. This is by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And so he will be reading through this because we are doing some of the TCT literature picks this summer to give us a little bit more space during the school year to add a couple more things in. And then we are also doing Plutarch together. So I have Anne White's guide, Plutarch. So this is Publicola, and this is one of Plutarch's lives, but it is a guide by Anne White that Ambleside Online recommends to help you, along with your student, get through your beginning studyings of Plutarch. So this is the one that Anne White recommends you get started with, and so that is what we will be doing. And this one looks pretty short. It only seems like it has 12 lessons, so I think that we will end up adding more to our term 2 and term 3. But we will see how this one goes first. I know he will need me to be there with him for that, so I do have 45 minutes once a week allotted for he and I to work through that together. Also, as part of our literature, the children's tradition has adventure stories that she recommends you read. So we've already started on this. We're reading some of these over the summer. I think these make great summer or bedtime reads, but I also have picked up the rest of the adventure stories to include in our school year, should we be able to find the time. So some of the books that he will be reading, I don't have them in hand right now, but I'll kind of show a shot of them when they arrive from Living Book Press. But they are Captain Courageous by Rudyard Kipling, Penrod by Booth Tarkington, and Penrod and Sam by Booth Tarkington. And so those are some of the adventure stories that I plan to sprinkle in throughout our year. I think it will be good for us to do those after lunch as an afternoon read, or maybe our bedtime reads. The rest of the things we will be doing as a family, combined studies during our morning basket, benediction table time, or during our family time towards the end of the morning. So I will be sharing about all of those family shared subjects and reading in a separate video, but those are all of his specific academic studies. I'll also share with you some of the extracurriculars that he will be doing for next year to round out this education, because educating a child means educating their entire person, their whole being, not just their mind with academics, but their souls, their bodies, their spirits, with nourishing and good things, presenting them with a wide feast of living ideas, which includes extracurriculars. So for him, he is taking piano lessons still, and he practices that daily, and he will continue that into the coming year. And then for our co-op, he is going to be taking a cooking class. And then he will be taking a computer programming class called Scratch. He has a pottery class, a gym class, where they learn lots of physical education things, lots of team sports, fun games like that. He'll be doing a Tinker Crate class, which is assembling, engineering, creating, being creative with others. And he will be taking a gymnastics and obstacle course class. and finally a jujitsu class. So all of the classes that I just listed, all but jujitsu, all happen on one day. So I'm not like running him around to all these different classes. These all happen at one time on one day. He will go through all of those classes, and then jujitsu is a separate time of the week. So I hope you enjoyed this look into my grade 4 students' curriculum picks for next year. Please tell me what you are planning to use with your grade 4 student. Are you using any of the things that I shared today, or have you used them in the past? And if so, what did you think of them? And I would also love any tips from more seasoned mothers who have started written narration with their students. What are some tips that you have to share with us, some wisdom or practical things that you have implemented to make this transition go a little bit easier? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next in my other students' curriculum picks videos.